something we have lots of thanks to these 5 giant wind turbines, but it's not enough. As we know from our temporary farms platform over there, we're already at max power, and we can't even have everything over there running at once. Last time on Perfect World post-production, we attached the monorail from Cliffside all the way to Big Rig City, but we have no power here whatsoever. So that's today's focus, in case you hadn't guessed by now. And I don't want to route the same power from Cliffside over to here, mostly because there's not enough and it would be pointless, but I think it would be nice to have some self-contained power for the oil rig. It's going to need a lot. But luckily for us, we have 4 empty pillars that are holding this thing up. And in fact, if we go to free cam and jump inside, we can see we've got loads of space in here, even more once we drain out the water. So I think we're going to use 3 of these for power and probably save the last one for putting a guardian farm in. But in order to achieve this, I am going to need to drain those pillars first, and then work out how to maximize the space we've got in there, and ideally not have things looking terrible. I imagine we're probably also going to need another offshore wind farm over here for even more power. I don't know if we're going to be able to squeeze enough into these columns, but I think for now, sorting out 3 of these pillars with windmills will be enough to get us started. But just before we get to that, I was having the problem here where it was showing the wrong destination, and apparently what I need to do is add in these bits, so it actually updates the schedule title when it's going to different places. So hopefully, that board's going to show what it's supposed to now. Let's give him the schedule, and then hopefully once he gets moving, the board's going to update, although it might need to do a run there and back first. Not entirely sure. He is now off, and yep, so the board hasn't updated yet. I think he needs to like do a run first. Let's see what happens. So it has updated, but now it says destination from Big Rig City. But if it says from, then it's not a destination, is it? This thing makes no sense. Let's see what happens when it gets back here. Right, well, it's back, and now it says the destination is Big Rig City, which is where it is. Let me check this schedule. Did I put these in the wrong place? They need to be like that. Let's try again. Oh, I don't want to be on the train. Let's see if it works this time. If not, we're going to have to do some digging at some point, but I won't bother with it this video. Nope, it still says destination Big Rig City. So clearly, changing the schedule title does absolutely nothing. I don't see how any of these other options are going to help, so I don't know. We'll just leave it as is for now. Do your thing. Right, pillars. We need sponges. I'd better jump on the train, actually. We need to go all the way back. So if we get some sponges, we can clear out the bottom of the pillars and see what space we're working with. Then we can finally make a start getting power over here. I've established that sponges aren't really working, so we're going to do this the create way. Now what we're going to do is punch a little hole in there, build ourselves a little platform. We get some water wheels going, put a speed controller on because we want this to be nice and fast. Then we'll need a hose pulley, a bunch of pipes, and we're literally just going to pump all of this out so we don't make a mess on the outside. We're going to use another hose pulley over here. Let's just get this lowered down. And we'll lower down the one on the inside as well. Stick a pump there. Then we just need a few small cogs. And it's overstressed, so we're going to have to go a little bit slower. But as you can see, that's starting to remove the water from here. And it's going to take a little while to do that, but it will drain the entire thing for us. Right, there we go. I've actually put water on all of these water wheels now, and it's actually going at full speed. This is good. We've got 3 other columns we need to empty, so let's go get those done. Alrighty, we have all 3 pumps now set up. Let's see how the first one's getting on. Say that's not too bad. We're probably about a third of the way done. So while these finish up, I need to work out how I'm actually going to build the windmills in here. And as I say, I'd rather they didn't look awful. Let's see what we can do. In fact, what we're going to do is jump over here to our creative copy of this where we originally designed it. I want to know how many wool blocks we can get in a reasonably sized circle. So if I leave space like that, I can get 89 blocks in a circle. Question is, how much power does that produce? Because it's not a full-size windmill. Get all that glued together. Cut down a windmill bearing. Get it started. Put some goggles on. That's creating 5,600. So let's stop that. We add on an extra little row just to the outside here. We're now doing 7,168. I think we can still do more than that. So let's do a few more blocks on the inside, and there we go, 8,192. That is a max-sized windmill. So if we were then to put in something like this to bring that power to one side, then what we could do is just kind of repeat that down the building. And if we were to use like grey wool or something, I think that would look a bit better, maybe look metallic. But we could just have a bunch of these spinning turbines all the way down. And because of the size of these pillars, we're going to be able to get absolutely loads of these things in. So back over here, what we need to do is get loads of windmill bearings, loads of wool, loads of super glue, encased chain drives, and shafts, and that should be enough to get us started. And in the meantime, this should continue to drain. So I think I am actually going to wait for this first tower leg to drain out, then we can actually start the building at the bottom and work our way upwards. But something else I want to do is actually put in a floor at the level where the door is. Not a floor that covers the whole area, I just want to have like a little area like this, then we can have a little balcony bit, and we'll just make sure that we leave a gap. So we'll have lots of windmills above and lots of windmills below. Just something like that, I think. Now we wait for the water to go. And there we go, we are now drained. That means we can actually remove this. The first thing I'm going to do is put in a new floor down here. So what we're going to start doing is building up these windmills from below. That's one down, and I don't know how many more to go. Let's just get building. Oh, and actually, before I forget, I want to make sure I'm putting a redstone link on every single one. So that way, we should be able to turn them all on at once. Just going to quickly check that is the case. No? Can you not activate windmills remotely? Apparently not. Well, in that case, I'm going to change the design slightly, just to make it so we can actually get into these to turn them on when we need to. I think if I just punch those gaps there, that should, hopefully, still run at full speed. It does. Excellent. And a short while later, I think we're there. We've got 8 full-size windmills above us, and we've got 10 down below us. So that's 18 full-size windmills in here. That's going to be a whole lot of power. But before I turn all of these on, what I want to do is take a schematic, so it's going to be much easier to do the ones in the other 2 towers. Then we need to link everything together. We need to have a central control room somewhere. But for now, let's just focus on getting this into the other 2 towers, which I'm assuming are well and truly drained by now. I can confirm that both the other towers are now empty, so I've cleaned away all the pipey bits. Now we just need to make the schematic, probably grab a bunch more wool, and get another 36 full-size windmills. That is a whole lot of windmills. And with that many running at once, we probably won't need to do that many at sea after all. But I need to go get myself a schematic and quill. We don't have one on us. I could probably do with a few more burgers as well. And then when I bring you back in, hopefully we'll be ready to connect everything together and start sorting out the actual control center. Success. We now have 36 additional windmills. I just need to turn them all on. I think it makes most sense to start at the bottom, so I can do that and then escape, and then I have to get into the next one and turn that one on and then escape, and I've just got to do this 18 times in each tower, and then we'll get them all connected. First tower is now on, and it looks pretty epic, I have to say, and it's producing 147,000 SU. Which, I'll be honest, is slightly less than I was hoping for, but that's going to be just shy of 450 once they're all on. I'd say that's going to be pretty good. And our escalators are now powered as well. Look at that. That looks awesome. So all the towers are now on. What I need to do now is get them connected together. I think I've got a plan for that. We're going to need a bunch of chains. We're going to need some chain conveyors. Probably going to want some girders, let's be honest. We're going to need some shafts. We're going to need more encased chain drives. What I want to do is put these across the roof here to the center. Then we'll put an encased chain drive there. Connect that to that. Just going to turn up my full bright while we work under here because it is dark. If we put copycat stairs in there and the same here, that should create a nice little hole for the chain to go through. Yep, that looks good. We'll connect that chain to here. Basically, just repeat that again, and then we'll do the same for the third tower, and they'll all be connected together. So with 2 of them connected, we've got 294,000 SU. Let's just sort out the last one. That is all 3 linked up. We have 442,000, so we probably are going to need some ocean windmills, but for now, this will be fine. This will do the trick. So what we need now is a centralized area where we distribute the power from, just so we can make sure we can adjust the speed, we can keep track of how much we've got, how much we're using, and so on. And of course, we want to do that up here. The problem is, if I go into free cam and have a little look, it just looks a little bit thin. at the moment. So I don't just want to start putting buildings directly on top of this bit because I think it needs a little bit more structure first. So what we're going to do is actually build up another level. So we've got a huge underground area, just one big chamber, which we will divide up into different areas and use for different things. And then we'll build the city on top of that. And I think it's just going to give this thing a whole lot more weight. And then once we start hanging things underneath as well, it's going to make the whole thing just look a lot more together, really, I guess. I don't really know the word, but I know what I mean and I know what I'm picturing. And I think I've got an idea on how I want these walls to look. So it's basically going to be a load of walls that wrap all the way around. Height-wise, maybe sort of like 10 blocks high or so, something like that. In fact, that might be a little bit much, potentially 8. So if we imagine a big chunky bit going all the way around and then we build on top of that, but at that height, that should actually be quite good. Let's go grab some blocks and see what we can work out. Now I'm standing here looking at all this stuff. I don't really know what to grab. I mean, this oil rig is a huge project. So whatever I do use, I'm going to need a whole lot of it. So I think what we're probably best off doing is actually jumping back into the creative world, having a little play around with a few things, and hopefully we can come up with a design we like, and then we actually know what resources to focus our efforts on obtaining. Plus, I have a lot less time these days, what with a 5-month-old, so I think designing in creative a little bit and then blasting it into the world might be something we do. Usually I prefer not to do that, but with a project on this scale, I could waste days just trying to select the right resources if I do it in survival. Now, let's think about this. We're probably going to want some kind of frame, and then I think I want it to look quite metallic, and these pillar blocks actually work quite well for that. So let's try maybe not andesite, or something a bit easier to get hold of, because we're going to need thousands of it if we go this route. Let's try the stone. So we can have the walls in that block. I quite like it. We're probably going to want some windows of some kind though. The floor down here looks weird now, so let's replace that with some more plates. Now, what do we want to do for the windows? Do we want to use this weathered glass, maybe? You imagine that down the side of the whole thing, though. That might be a little bit much. What if we were to do something a bit weird here? Let's maybe replace this with scaffolding. Not sure on that. The holes look a little bit too big. Though, don't we have supports? Industrial iron supports? They'll probably be a cheap one to make. Let's put a bit more of that in and see how we're looking. Although we can see the floor through them as well, so let's probably replace those bits. Let's stretch that across there. Right, I feel like we're making some progress, but I'm not sold yet. Do we maybe want a walkway on this edge as well? So I think we're getting there, but we need girders. That's what we need. We always need girders. Maybe some of these angled ones as well. Maybe we could do something funky with these. So if we were to put girders there, then how about something like that? If we were to put angled ones in like this, that should give us quite a cool shape. Yeah, that's looking good. Maybe we need some lights. Yeah, that's nice. And it matches the lights down here as well. Bit more detail. How about jamming in a few shafts? I think that could work. We imagine that kind of wrapped all the way around. And it wouldn't be solid because we'd end up with sort of buildings sticking out. So, for example, let's grab some bricks. Why not? You'd have sort of buildings jutting out of it as well. But this will be the core that we build on. So we're probably best off doing the whole platform like this. And then when we get to adding in different bits, we can just sort of do that as we go along. So let's make a schematic of this. Make sure we get the floor as well. Then we'll print another one of those. And we'll just spam a bunch of these in. And hopefully it'll match up nicely with that end of the platform. But if not, we might have to mess around with the middle part a little bit. So I'm doing the middle one here now, and I think it might actually work out perfectly. Yeah, look at that. Yeah, that's looking much better. I like that. And then if we were to do things like, say, here, put in a separate little barrier. We can put in some stairs. Yeah, I think this is going to work really well. So now, if I take a schematic of this entire side, the question is, does it line up on this side? I think I made it a perfect square. Yep, let's print that. The whole rig is now enclosed. I've also added an extra row of these sort of scaffold things out the front here. I think that looks quite nice, gives it a bit more depth. Okay, now to sort out a floor. And it's all well and good just filling it in like we did with the floor below, but we're going to need lighting as well. That doesn't mean we can't start by filling it all in though. There we go, girders and lanterns. That has solved our lighting problem. And if we look at this darkest patch in the center here, we have a block light level of 1, which is above 0, which means things won't spawn. Which is a good thing, because we can't really have permanent mega torches on this platform, because otherwise it's going to stop the guardians from spawning, and we kind of want them for the guardian farm. I think with that done, we're ready to take a big schematic of this thing, and then try and get all these resources in the main world, blast it into existence, and then we'll probably use a portion of this room for our power control room. Kind of want this to be the underbelly of all the inner workings of the platform. So we'll probably have our storage drawer lines and things like that down here as well. Probably a few robots going around, dropping things off and so on. But basically all the stuff that's going to keep the farms on top running. But first, schematic. And now I've got everything. Let's get that schematic made. We're going to take a cannon and do we have a clipboard in here? Yep, there we go. Then we'll get our material checklist and work towards getting everything we're going to need. It's going to be a whole lot of tough and a whole lot of iron. Thankfully, we have both those things automated over there, so we should be okay. Okay, so we need 160 lights, 2,500 plating, another 23,000 tough. Should have seen that coming, really. Although, I don't actually need that many. I probably only need just over half that amount because I have grabbed the floor in the schematic, if we actually take a look at it. There we go. So I have actually got the floor at the bottom here, but that's only because I need the front bit. So, yeah, we probably need about 15,000 tough. And then we just need lots of iron, iron, levers, iron, girders, shafts, and stone. And a bunch of lanterns. I'll tell you what, I don't think it's going to be too bad. I think we can do this fairly easily. We'll start with the tough. We've got 13,000 in here at the moment. So let's put our backpack here. That's going to make our cut tough. Look at that. I love how quickly that comes in. Got a whole load of iron as well. Let's just grab all these blocks. Dump them in our backpack. They're going to come in very handy in a moment. Although they're going to be more useful if they're actually iron ingots. We're halfway through the tough. This should only take another moment. So that's all the tough collected. We've got loads of iron to make all the industrial iron things. So let's get crafting. Thankfully, it's quite easy to craft this stuff. We can just make blocks of industrial iron. We can then turn those into industrial iron ingots, put those in here, and then get all the catwalk we can need. The main problem is actually just inventory space, unsurprisingly. So we've got the cut tough, got 1,700 of those, 800 of those, and 200 of those, so we've definitely got enough. Still need some more plating, though. Let's get more iron ingots. We can just make those in here as well. 2,500, is that enough? It is. Now the front lights, yeah, we've already got loads of those. I made loads of those the first time round. And we've got a lot of girders. I don't know if that's going to be enough though. What have we already got in our bag? 698. Ooh, it's going to be close. We might have enough. We have 2,700 girders and we need 2,900. Okay, so we can make a few more. We're also going to need a bunch of industrial iron supports. That's those done. Need metal brackets. Should be enough of those. Shafts, we've already got 900 odd. Need a bunch of levers. Diagonal girders, we've got 380. We need 240, so we're okay. There's literally just the girders, the pillars, and the lanterns. You can make the lanterns over here on the Tinkerer's bench. The girders, we're going to need more iron sheets, however, so let's dump a bunch of these in here. While they do their thing, what we should do is get some stone, and we need to turn a whole load of it into pillars. How many do we need? 933. So if I just do all of this, that should be more than enough. And lastly, we'll just grab the alloy that we're going to need to make the girders, and we should be good to go. There we go. We now have 4,000 girders. More than enough. Let's grab our cannon and schematic table and go get this done. Oh no, we've missed the train. Fine, I'll fly over there slowly. Really need to get that elytra. So first things first, let's get this in position. So that should be correct. Let's just go check the other side. Oh no, wait, there we go. That's the correct placement. Yep, we're looking good on opposite corners. Let's do one last check of the checklist. And everything is ticked. In fact, it's actually changed the amount of tough we need now because it can see that we've already got tough there. That's actually very clever. I like that. So yeah, we've definitely got enough of everything. Let's get this running. Almost an entire hour later, we now have the next part of the structure in, but look at that. That is looking absolutely awesome. We've got loads of space on the inside. But the first thing I need to do is sort out these escalators. It's all well and good having them come up to this floor. This is fine, but this is going to be, as I say, more of an operations kind of floor. So I think what I actually want to do is maybe separate this bit off, build like a small little sort of room around it, and then have doors from that room that go out into the operations areas on the left and right, and then have another small escalator that goes up to the top level. So for now, I'm just going to grab some blocks and kind of mark some stuff out, I guess. So we'll box that bit out there. Then we'll have escalators. And then we'll have escalators going up as well, so we might actually extend this wall to sort of the length of the escalator. Now, something else I also need to make a note of is the exact center of the platform, which is right here. Which, thanks to these girders and lights, is much easier to work out. It's basically just the 5th light from each side. But we're going to need to know that because the platform goes approximately 50 blocks in each direction. And that means we need to put our storage controller right in the middle if we're going to have all of this hooked up to one storage network. But that's something we'll worry about in future. It's just nice to know where that spot is. So I've gone ahead and actually just built a box around this thing for now. We'll mix in some texture and make it look good at some point. But what I'm thinking is if we get all of this blocked off, and in fact, I still need to block off this bit here as well. Let me just quickly do that. Oh, I'm not sure I like that, actually. It looks a little bit too enclosed now, doesn't it? Tell you what, I've got an idea. But I'm going to need to go grab some bits and bobs. But I'm thinking we could just put some grass in there, get some sides on it, get some leaves and foliage, and just brighten the place up a little bit. But let's quickly get these escalators in, and then we'll go grab what we need. So if I put gearboxes in there, and then same on this side, and then just stick in shafts. There we go. Although, they're going the wrong way now. So that should be correct. Yep, so that one's going up. That one's going up. Okay, cool. So let's just get all of these connected. And once again, it's looking a little bit enclosed. So let's rip out this central bit. And we'll replace that with some leaves and things as well. Right, let's go grab some leaves, maybe some andesite pillars to mix this up a little bit. And then we'll start planning out where we're going to be putting things on this rig. Because until we do that, I don't think I want to actually put the sort of centralized power system in. And look at that, the train has just arrived. Quick, 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 down the escalator. Oh, and I flipped the schedule, by the way. So now over here it does say it's going to Cliffside. But now the problem is over at Cliffside, it says it's going to Cliffside. Silly trains. So I need belts to make the escalators look good with handrails. Need a selection of leaves, grass, and andesite, so I can make some andesite pillars. And in fact, I think I can make tough pillars as well. So andesite pillars, tough pillars. And then over here at the farm, I'm just going to grab a bunch of different wool, just so when we're planning things out, we can see what's what. Seems like a wise thing to be doing. Oh, and look, one of our bots is harvesting away as well. Keep up the good work, buddy. Ooh. Got a dry patch there. Anyway, I don't care about that. I've got a train to catch. Don't leave before I get that. Nope. Nice try. Yeah, this thing's certainly starting to look epic now. Okay, so let's start with some grass in here. And we'll use bites to do that little trick at the end there as well. And I'm hoping I can put a board there. No, there. Okay. I mean, that's most of it. There's only a small gap. Though I should probably make sure I'm using the stone ones for now. And then we'll get some leaves in and just sort of bush them out in a few places with some layers. Oh no, that's a board. That's a layer. Similar on this side. We'll just get some of the handrails in as well. Oh, I need to remove these. Get the handrail in. Looking good-ish. What we could do with is mixing in a few darker tones on this wall and a few lighter tones at the bottom. I don't want to overdo it, just a little bit to make it look a little bit old and worn. I mean, it did used to be an oil rig after all. Now, you may have noticed I've also put a door over here on this side, and that's just so we can access underneath the escalators here. I don't know if we're going to do anything with this space, but I'd like to keep access to it just in case. So I should probably put some light in there. Right, there we go. I think that's the central sort of exchange area done, I guess, because yeah, this is going to go out into all the sort of mechanical type bits, and then the top bit is going to go more into the sort of living areas and the cities. Oh, the escalator was a bit glitchy there. That was weird. Thinking about it, I should probably get a few safety rails up here. Right, looking good. Let's do some planning. Now, as I say, this area down here is pretty much just going to be for sort of routing everything where it needs to go. But if we come up to the top floor here and maybe have a quick nap, it's a bit dark. Oh, there's my sleeping bag gone. So we've got loads of wool. We can make one in any color. Let's go for some blue. Remember how to make them. There we go. Now we need to do just a little bit of planning, and we know that right here is the sort of central point of the platform. So this is where we're probably going to want our storage interface, which tells me we're going to want an area around here that's just for storage and stuff like that. I mean, alternatively, we don't really need to have a central storage area, do we? All we're going to need is a clerk. And since whatever the last thing I said was, I've just been kind of staring at the top of this and trying to work out how I'm going to do things. And I think the most straightforward thing for me to do is probably just to start building on the platform. The only thing we need to be aware of, as I say, is knowing that this is the central storage point, but from here we could just have 4 long lines that go out in each direction for the drawers that can then be connected to. Once we've got that, we just need to decide where we're putting the power control room, and I think I do actually want to do that up here somewhere, and that's the corner the monorail stuff comes in on, so I might do it over in that corner there, which will basically mean building an oversized building over there for what it's actually going to do, but we've got space, so why not? But first, let's sort out this storage. So what I need to do is dig out a big line all across this platform. And this is where we're going to put the drawer trims, but we're going to make the trims look like these tough blocks here. Or maybe not exactly these ones, something similar so we know that they're drawers, but so they blend in. And yes, I am procrastinating. I don't need to do this now at all. It is not relevant to the actual power station project that we're doing, but I'm still thinking about how I actually want to do that. So yeah, may as well keep myself busy in the meantime, I guess. Now let's go get some drawer trims in about a minute and a half. Thinking about it, there is something else I want to play around with, because obviously last episode we did build this and we were talking about the escalators and how we're getting up there, and yeah, they work. They're a little bit glitchy every now and then, but generally they do work. But people have suggested putting in a lift so we can actually get up to the top, or an elevator for those across the pond. But then that reminded me that we actually have hypertubes, and I reckon we could have quite a cool hypertube system down here. Maybe just one tube that takes us up to a room, and then have a hypertube room that can just take you anywhere in the factory. I think that would be really cool. But once again, we're getting ahead of ourselves. I'm supposed to be thinking about how I'm going to do the power station, or power control room, I should say. We're actually already generating the power we need. So let's grab a bunch of spruce trim and a bunch of tough. And now we need to choose what block we want to disguise these things as. Now, I don't think it wants to be anything too in your face. So how about just stack tough bricks? And we'll get some vertical cut ones as well for when we're going in the other direction. We're also going to grab a drawer controller and a couple of storage drawers for testing. So I want to make sure the range definitely works. How was it nighttime again already? Oh yes, I was just standing there staring at the platform for ages, wasn't I? So if we put framed trim in all along here, we stick a box on the end, drawer controller here. Can I put stuff into it? Cannot. How about if I go to config and then go to sophisticated storage? I think it's 50 by default, and I think we're about 55 blocks wide here. Oh, no, it says the controller range is set to 200. Let's try that again. Try with a different block, maybe? Maybe it's a problem with the actual trim. If I put the drawer there, can't put stuff in. I'll put a drawer there. I still can't put stuff in. What's going on? Drawer controller? Spruce drawers. Okay, so I have to tell it what to take first. It's more complicated than I thought. Right, so if I just put that in there, and come all the way down here and try to put those in. No, they don't go in. They go in on that one. Yep, they're going on that one. Maybe even though it's set to 200 range, it actually isn't? I mean, that would be my guess. Let's pull it forward a few blocks and try it now. Yep, there you go, that works. Okay, cool, so it's definitely a range issue. It might be because the world's on a server, so changing it in the config on my settings here doesn't work. Maybe I need to change it in the actual server config? I don't know, but I'll figure that out. At least the framed trim works, that's what I was worried about. Let's just get the rest of this in, and then we'll stop procrastinating and get on with the power stuff. Right, there we go, that doesn't look too bad. It gives us 4 clear segments for our factories and stuff, but let's sort out our power. So first up, I'm gonna put a little doorway over this side, just so we can get easy access to the monorail station. Then we're going to go into the center of this tower over here, fly all the way to the top, and punch a hole in the floor right about there. And this is going to finally bring the power onto the rig. But I think instead of bringing it up in the middle of the floor here, what I should probably do, stick down the gearbox and just run it over to this shaft that's already on the wall. Just make a little hole here, and that's where we'll punch through to the top level. I should be able to encase that with some industrial iron. Wonderful. Do the same there. Excellent. So with this power station, what we need to do is basically bring it into a building. We need to speed it up. I want to have clutches for the different factories so we can actually control all the factories from a central spot. That's going to be an interesting one. And I want to have a big old display board telling me how much power we've got, how much we've used, and how much is available. So similar to what we have over in Cliffside. But sadly, that's all going to have to wait for the next episode because it's just started raining. And I'm out of time. I refer back to my earlier lack of time thing that I mentioned. But thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye-bye now.